not be suitable for children under 13 years of age. Viewer discretion is advised.
The intro music. Hey, what's going on, guys? Patriot Prime here once again with another episode of the SITREP. And my guest tonight is Mike Seibert from the Mike Seibert Radio Podcast. For those of you in the know, I was on his show last week, and we had such a good time. We talked for 2 hours, and I thought, I need somebody for a SITREP again. Hell, I'll call up Mike. And Mike was more than happy to hop on, so we're just role reversing tonight. And Mike, welcome to my channel.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. And it is funny because like you had reached out to me. We had such a blast last time, and it's literally role reverse. We even like flipped the screens. Like, I'm on the other side. It's like, so, one of the things you said when you were on my show, it's like, well, I'm usually the one answering the question, so it's going to be a little different. And I feel exactly the same way. My podcast is very interview driven. I love chatting with folks, but yeah, this is a little different for me because usually I have all the questions and kind of guide the flow. And it is really cool and really liberating to just be on this other side and just like, yeah, hit me with what you got. I love to talk about Transformers and all kinds of cool stuff. I'm also glad that maybe I've directly or indirectly been an inspiration for the return of the SITREP, because that was one of the things you had mentioned on my show. It's like, I really got to get back into doing live streams and, kind of really, get back on the horse. And so, yeah, so I was delighted that within a week, it's like, hey man, let's flip the tables the other direction. And so, yeah, I'm really glad we're going to have a blast tonight. Thank you so much for having me.
Our show proved last week, or just what was going on with us. You and I have never talked before other than on Facebook. And within seconds, it was just that bond.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like I've known Mike forever. We had such a good time talking. I thought, hell, let's do it again. Introduce him to, my subscribers and my fans, because he's got a really good podcast, and he's got this damn earworm of a intro song that once it gets into your brain, it stays there forever. And I told him last night I'd listened to a couple of his things, and I was out in the mall with my wife out of town, and I was just sitting there humming this song, and she's like, what is that? And I was like, I don't know, what is that? And I realized what was going on. Well, Mike, as our viewers build here, got quite a few in the chat right now with Jonas, MC, DJ, ACDC. I'm getting faster at saying that name. Larkin's Lair. Hey, buddy. Chauncey, Jason, Transformers Talk Raw, Johnny Simon, and John Doe 4880. Hello. Happy Thursday. As we wait for more people to join us, Mike, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Well, I live in Seattle. I've lived in the Seattle, Washington area for my entire life. So when I say we have the worst drivers in the country, I can say that with some authority because I'm one of them. But no, I love the Pacific Northwest. It's like we have all of the seasons. We've got mild winters and mild summers. It's all very mild. It does rain a lot, probably as much as folks in other parts of the country say it does, but it's it's fine. I would rather have temperate conditions than extremes. The Pacific Northwest culture is one of just easy going, just kind of like delightfully in the middle, and that's kind of where I'm at. Like, if we're choosing drink sizes, there's a large, there's a small, and there's a medium. I'm always the medium guy, very straight down the middle. I've been in the content creation space now for maybe about 7 years, give or take. I started as a DJ at a college radio station. I had the opportunity as an adult to go back to school, went to a local community college, Green River College in Auburn, Washington. And I went back to school to get a IT degree, and was pursuing a career in, technical support. I love technology and I love helping people. So it seemed like IT was kind of like a good field for me, but I didn't have like all the current qualifications. So I took some IT courses, and in the last quarter of my last year, of my last semester, of my last finishing off my degree, I come out of one of my classes and I see a billboard. Like at school, you got like the cork board with all of the flyers and things like that on it. And
there's somebody that met you in the chat right now. Recognize that name?
Not off the top of my head. But
that's the one bad thing about YouTube. It's their YouTuber names. And
yeah, it's so weird.
Like when we went to TFCon, you get to know so many YouTubers by their YouTuber name, and you're sitting there hanging out in the lobby, and that's what you're calling each other.
It's so funny, and I'll kind of jumping all over the place, but like, a lot of folks know everybody by our YouTube handles or Twitter handles or fan fiction names or whatever. And I've always just been Mike Seibert. My name is Mike Seibert, and that kind of like is my radio name or whatever.
The whole Patriot Prime thing.
Totally.
And there's an individual I haven't seen in a long time. Hello, M. How are you doing?
But I always feel like sometimes when like I'm in a bar at a TFCon, we've all had that experience where we're like chilling in the bar, like after a day of conning, and everybody's got like their own cartoon names, right? And I sometimes feel like it's like, oh, we're using my made up names. Well, I am Spider-Man. Good to meet you. But getting back to my origin story, I get ready to finish community college, and I see a flyer in the hallway that says "Be on the radio." And it's got a picture of plucky college kids and a control board and a microphone. And I've always been fascinated with radio, with music radio, with talk radio. I've just been a fan of all of that, and it just hit me. It's like, well, I need something to do over the summer after I'm done with my coursework. Why not take this class and at this radio station at this college? And I got bit by the bug immediately. Like, this, the coursework over at Green River College it's a student run radio station. There's like one faculty member that's the general manager that also teaches the classes that is just there to keep the kids out of trouble. But everything outside of that, between the music choices, the DJs, everything with running the radio station is student run. It's radio for the kids by the kids. And you are on the mic and on the controls in week 2 of the course. And as soon as I talked into the radio, and everybody is awful when they start, because it's just like,
I was about to say, you've got that radio voice. Do you pick that up immediately, or you learn to enunciate? I had so many people tell me, you ought to do that because I can do a good radio announcer voice. I was the guy back when I worked at Kmart years ago. They got me to do the blue light specials. And when I told you on your show, I was in Lost Control.
Yeah.
And one of the fun things with Lost Control, I had all the cameras in the store in my office. I was focused in. And one of the things I'd like to do was I'd call in on the front desk and pretend I'm the local radio station. And they won biscuits for the whole office. So, hey, what's going on? This is J. Patrick with J104.5, letting you know that you have won today's biscuit bunch. And they're like, oh,
I love it. Now, are we talking crispy biscuits or crumbly biscuits?
Oh, this is West Virginia, man. We got the biscuits that are soft on the inside, crispy on the outside, nice and buttery, and covered in sausage gravy.
Oh my gosh, delicious.
Sweet tea.
So the radio voice thing actually comes from my previous life before I had the opportunity to go back to college. I wasn't doing radio per se or announcing, but I used to work for a inventory counting company. Like, you may have gone to the grocery store early in the morning and you see people with these big calculator machines, like counting the bread and stuff like that.
Yeah.
that's what I used to do. I used to be a manager for the inventory service. So basically at the beginning of each shift, at the beginning of each store, you have to give a crew briefing where basically like, you have to talk about what the rules for this account are, things to watch out for. And that's kind of one of the first places where I got a knack for projecting and talking to people. Like if you're running a Target store with a crew of 100, you got to project to the folks in the back, because like, my friends out front will obviously be into it, but like the folks in the back, it's like, oh, hey man. Yeah. So, what does Mike always say about stickies? Stickies answer questions, so it's like you get the folks into it a little bit so that that they're paying attention. So that's actually where like a lot of this comes from. I'm also, talking about being in grocery stores or whatever. We all know loud cell phone talker guy, right? That's me.
Pause for one moment, Mike. Here's something that's unique to my channel. Is my friend Princeton Phalanx right here. Phalanx, who sent me
he's throwing money at you.
He's throwing money at me. So if you watch my show, I always have something goofy as a reward to give folks who like to throw that dollar bills, y'all. They're tucking it in a G-string here. There's an image for you.
Making it rain.
So let's give Princeton one of our favorites.
Sure.
Here's Soundwave. Thank you, Princeton.
Ravage, eject.
That's awesome. I love it. I love it. I love this show. This is so fun. I mean, the community's already lively. The chat is hopping. This is great. I just want to hang out and like read chats and stuff. Screw this origin story stuff.
If you want, what I like to do is, for those of you who don't know, the SITREP is my interview show where I ask a guest 10 questions. SITREP, situational report. Mm-hmm. I want to know 5 transformer. I have 5 transformer related questions for my guest and 5 questions regarding my guest as a YouTuber. But in Mike's case tonight, it's going to be podcast.
Sure.
So if you want to get into that, we'll go ahead and start with the questions. And if you noticed in the chat at the end, in some point after everything's over and done with, I have some Toyhax decal sets to give away. I do that from time to time. Everybody likes them. And these are 2 new decal sets that they just recently released. I have a decal set for Legacy Skullgrin to give away, and a decal set for Speedia 500, drop them in the floor, Override. So nice. 2 new decal sets to give away at the end of the show. Got to do my Toyhax promo.
Heck yeah. I hear there's a promo code too.
There is a promo code. Let's see. Horned Out recognizes Fiend. I got to try to get the interaction going on here too. All right, my friends. So if you are ready to rock and roll and you're ready for me to ask you some questions, we'll get into this.
Hell yeah. Sounds great.
All right. And if you guys want to interject or however you can, if the question is regarding what we're talking about, if you have something else regarding, that you want to talk to Mike about, wait till the end. That's when we get all the chat interactivity going on. So, number 1, Mike, what's the appeal of Transformers to you?
Oh my gosh. Well,
Transformers are going to be easy.
Yeah, I know, right? It reminds me of some of the questions that I asked you on my show. And one of the things that I told my audience when I kind of edited our live stream down into a more digestible podcast, which you can listen to now on the Mike Seibert Radio Podcast feed. We got half of that conversation there now. And then next week, I'm going to drop the other half where we talk more about Friday the 13th and some of the other non sequiturs that didn't quite fit in with the narrative. But I try to use all the parts of the buffalo when I can. But a lot of the questions, a lot of the answers that you gave me to my question surprised me, like in terms of like your favorite characters and factions and all that. But for me, at least, what makes Transformers special, and it's changed a bit over the years, because originally if you would have asked me this question 5 years ago, I would say, well, it's my favorite sci-fi franchise, or it's my favorite superhero franchise, because, it's transforming robots and great characters, and it's a great gimmick. It's two toys in one, and, talk about like the voice acting and all of that other stuff. My answer is a little different today. The thing that I think is special to me about Transformers is that it's gone on so long that there are so many different iterations and so many different entry points that I can interact with folks that look nothing like me. Folks that are different ages, different races, different genders, different orientations, and we can just talk about transforming robots with the same enthusiasm. And it wasn't like that when folks like you and me were growing up. It was folks that looked like us. And it's like, I remember the first time I went to a TFCon in 2018 in Chicago, and I walked into the room and I just saw like young people and young girls and all kinds of like folks that didn't look like me. And it was a delight, just to see folks that are different from me enjoying the thing that means so much to me. I had a conversation recently with someone who is half my age that loves Transformers the movie as much as I do. And it's just so incredibly satisfying to interact with different people and to have that same common experience. I think we need more of that. And I think Transformers is one of those things that really, at a time where folks are so divided on everything, really kind of unites us.
Hey, we back? Something just happened.
Oh, did we go somewhere? Oh no.
I guess. I don't know why we froze up for a second.
I did want to mention one thing. I saw this in the comments. Slow DK put in the chat. Hot chicks at cons, LOL. I want to clarify one of my statements. And yes, that is absolutely true, absolutely true. But it reminds me of something like I came home from a TFCon very recently after Chicago, this last October in 22, and one of my coworkers was like, I bet you there's a lot of chicks there, right? I'm like, well, actually, there's quite a lot of female people there.
They were most of the cosplayers.
Absolutely, yeah. And I did have to get in a dig. I go, but most of them probably don't have any interest in what you're selling.
That's true. So, it's funny going back into what you just went into, where you ran into people that were not like you. When I went to my first con, I was like, there's people just like me. Because, when you're collecting toys and you kind of keep it hid, you always think, oh, God, people are looking at me like the comic book guy from The Simpsons.
Yes, absolutely. I
mean, like you said, I've met so many people from so many walks of life, different states, different countries, it's just so cool. And we don't get, like I said at the end of our podcast that we did together, that I wish we went into first, because I think that's the important thing people need to know about me who don't know. And it was just amazing that we don't care about anything else going on in the world. We just bonded over plastic robots. Let's drink beers and talk bots, and we just have a blast. Who cares what's going on in the rest of the world?
Absolutely. So Chauncey put in the chat, dude, exclamation point, you lost him during his rousing speech about TFCon. how TFCon can bring us back together.
Well, you know why? It's because my PlayStation 5 is downloading the game downstairs.
Oh, no. So you'll just have to imagine.
Yeah. It's pretty much the same. What's cool, it's the same. Anytime somebody brings that up, it's always the same thing. You're just so surprised that there's people like us that are into this, and we could just bond immediately. Like you and I. You're over on the West Coast. I'm over here in West Virginia when we met via Transformers, and now.
Yeah. Friends for life. I
Yep.
mean, and I have had so many experiences like that, specifically at conventions too. It's like I will shake a hand or give a bro hug or otherwise with somebody. I'll be like, good to see you. And it's like, brother, you've never met me before. Oh yeah, that's right. We've been Twitter mutuals for 5 years. It's like, and you forget because like these relationships that we have in a digital space, whether it's here on YouTube or on podcasting or on social media, it's like, even though those places can get very fake and unreal, the friendships are very much real.
Yep. Fully agree. All right, moving on to question number 2. Aside from G1, which is always the number one answer,
Of course.
what's your favorite Transformers fiction?
And that kind of slides around a bit too, but man, that is a stumper. I'm gonna say the not the last iteration that just ended, but like the IDW Phase 2. Kind of like the More Than Meets the Eye.
Is that the one where they
robots
branched off into 2 different books?
Yeah.
See, that's when I quit reading them because I don't have a local comic shop around here. So I was collecting the big hardcover books. And when it got to the point where they were like $60 books each. And I got to the point where it ended the first wave or whatever. And I was like, I'm done. This is just a good stepping off point for me right now.
Exactly. So my jumping off point was the reboot in 2019. I was like, nah, I'm done. And really, even then, the wheels were getting really rickety towards the end there when they were doing all of the Hasbro crossovers, like Revolutions and Revolutionaries and all of that. It's like I like a lot of those IP. I'm a huge G.I. Joe fan, and I think Mask is a totally underutilized IP, but I didn't care for the way that IDW kind of like crammed things together. I'm not a fan of crossovers being so deep that it loses sight of the main book. Like there were Transformers characters that died in a G.I. Joe comic that, like, if you had not read that G.I. Joe comic, you would have no idea. So
that's like Marvel G1. Remember the G.I. Joe versus Transformers miniseries? They killed off Bumblebee.
Yeah.
So if you didn't read that series and was just reading the G1 books, you're like, okay, where's Bumblebee and why is he Goldbug now?
And they just showed up at Goldbug. Exactly. Yeah. But I liked the character building. And it gave a lot for fans and the fandom to latch onto. So I like that. And I especially appreciated the writing style of the More Than Meets the Eye comic, what James Roberts was doing. He added kind of like a quirky Red Dwarf Star Trek vibe to it, with kind of like this gang of misfits, which I really appreciated because like it was, it was B, C, and D list characters. There's no Optimus, there's no Megatron. Well, not right away, but it's like it's a crew being led by Rodimus, and Ultra Magnus is his number 2, and he's very put upon, and the dynamics I just found really fun, and with all these different entry points, I found that a lot of younger folks have latched onto that as well, and that's made me appreciate it even further, kind of seeing it through their eyes and their perspective.
Cool. All right, back to the toys. Do you have a favorite figure or grail in your collection? One figure you will never let go of? Say you have to sell everything. This one figure is not going anywhere.
In Christmas of 1987, I love telling this story. I had unwrapped all my gifts. I got a bunch of Transformers, I got a bunch of G.I. Joes and whatever else, probably some Ninja Turtles too. But like the last gift, the end boss Christmas gift was this large rectangular box. And I'm very excited looking at this box. And I swear it's a Nintendo Entertainment System. I'm getting the action set with, maybe it's got the Rob the robot that nobody actually wanted, but the rich kids had, and it's got the Zapper in it. It's like, oh man, Mike's getting a Nintendo. I peel back the wrapping paper. It's Fortress Maximus. And the box size is very, very similar. And it was one of those things like we were I don't want to say we were poor. I don't want to say we were rich. It was like, very, very much in the middle, but like something like Fortress Maximus was just way off my list. I didn't even write it on my list because I figured at that price point and the size of it, that was just so way beyond something I could even dream of. But like, like my aunt and my grandmother got together and got me this Fortress Maximus, and it just made that Christmas for me. And he's incomplete. He's well loved. He's very yellow, but yeah, it's the crown jewel of my collection is my G1 Fort Max, and That's still awesome. Have him, and I still mess around with him. He's still got those tight, ratchety, rickety joints. It is so cool. You
see my review of him? Of course, I have the reissue, and he had them tight ratchets too. And I'm a big dude. I'm sitting there fighting.
Yes, and even now, like, I mean, I haven't transformed him in years. I'm almost afraid to, because like even when I was a kid, those ratchets were stiff, and I feel like if I try to push it too hard, I might break it. So, but yeah, it's like those are some of like. You want to talk about childhood moments, they're transformative. All you got to do is click a Transformer's arm, and then suddenly, boom, you are transported back to being a child again, because it's a tactile sensation, it's a sound, and it's like everything all tied together. That is childhood right there, man.
Man, it's like when I just got this guy. I have pulled with Starscreams for years. I mean, I had an original back in the day. I don't have an original now, but I have the one that came out in 2003, the Toys R Us reissue. I have that one. But just opening this guy the other day, transforming him once again for the first time, straight out of the box, instantly I'm back to 1984.
Yeah, it takes you back, and that's a terrific figure too. I mean, I saw your video, and I totally agree with you on the missiles, but there is something fun about doing that transformation scheme for Starscream, where like, you flip the head down and then flip the cockpit all the way through his torso. I mean, again, there are just certain tactile experiences that are really cool. It's, having the opportunity to take a Starscream out of the box and to play with it. It's like that's something special.
Yeah. I pre-ordered him because I thought he's going to sell out super fast. I mean, he did. He was out near immediately. And he's pretty much, like I said, he's the Walmart reissue from a couple years ago with just in that G1 color scheme.
Yeah.
All right. So moving on, what figure is your white whale? What is your most wanted toy?
Ooh, that's a great question, because I haven't really thought about that for a while. It's interesting. This seems as good a point as any, to where it's like my collecting hasn't been as consistent as a lot of other fans. Like, I mean, I was there in 84. I was there through 85. I was there through parts of 86. But by the time 87 comes around, I'm kind of starting to get out of it. Like, Fort Max aside, like I think I don't even remember if I had any of the other Autobot headmasters. I had a couple of the Decepticons. I had Ape Face and Snapdragon, but yeah, it's like, so like I never really got past that. I mean, I think like by 1988 I was done. And I didn't really get back into Transformers collecting until I really started interacting with the fandom going back to 2017, 2018. So then I just started gobbling stuff up and getting in on contemporary stuff. You slap Transformers the movie on anything, I'ma buy it. So really it was Studio Series 86 that was really my in back into contemporary collecting. So with that, there is one figure that I've always been fascinated by, but I've never owned Six Shot. And
he's a cool one.
And I've
he was my first Toyhax bot.
Oh, cool. I just love his color scheme, and I love the idea of having a toy that, you know, even though some of the alt modes are kind of compromised, and really it's, oh, we just turn this over and flip a wing out, and
Yeah, the robot mode and jet mode are the only ones worth a damn.
exactly. But like, you know, he's a biggin too, so you know, having that, we talked a lot about tactile experiences, you know, to have that sensation of flipping around to the 6 modes would be something that would be really appealing to me.
All right, so let's wrap up the last of the Transformers questions. What's your favorite Transformer character from any fiction, any media? What's your favorite character?
Well, I am grateful that after these hard questions, you finally gave me an easy one. No matter where he is, what iteration, what version, what changes, Soundwave is always my guy, all across the board. You know, from the G1 with the Frank Welker vocoder voice to the Marvel Comics Marvel Comics version that occasionally has a mouth. But
it never did much.
Yeah, and even some of the later versions, like even like when he shows up in Transformers Earthspark rocking that revenge body, you know, it's like, you know, he's just a great character. I mean, I think for a lot of us, it's the voice, but I think also it's that dynamic of him being really his own self-contained strike force. Like he's got an army of little dudes at his own disposal, and that's there's an appeal of that there. And
when you had all those cassettes, when you played with him as a kid, it was nothing for your imagination to just pretend he's firing those out.
Oh yeah, it's like that GIF where it's just the endless tapes just spitting out, and even the character work, like all of the tapes had unique personalities, you know, and or even like the stuff where, like, you know, Laserbeak has like this relationship with Megatron, and you know, it's just really cool characters that come from this one awesome character. So,
and you think about Soundwave came out in '84. And I don't think he was re-released again. He came out in '84, and yet they still kept making cassettes for him all the way up until '87.
Yeah.
I think it was Slugfest and Overkill were the last ones in '87.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. You know, Soundwave had been discontinued for years, and yet they're still making Decepticon cassettes. In fact, I think I am pretty sure that Soundwave was my first Transformer. I have vivid memories of my 5th birthday. My birthday's on September 15th. So it's like, I don't know if this is a weird Mandela effect or not, but it's like, I have vivid memories of like getting like the Ewok village and a bunch of Star Wars guys, and then like opening up this larger box and seeing that it's Soundwave. I was like, oh, holy smokes. And I also have this memory, I think it was a Saturday, like I think the Transformers cartoon was on TV at that time as well. So having all of that stuff kind of coalesce at the same time really kind of imprinted Transformers on me very early. Plus he's a radio guy. So it's like, you know, and I will say, and I you know, maybe I'm going to stop some tweets here, but like Soundwave is a cassette recorder. Blaster is a boombox. Soundwave is not a boombox.
Yep. That's why, you know, espionage, he was recording. I always liked the Marvel Comics. Well, no, in G1 too, the cartoon, they always just picked him up, just random. Oh, here's a cool cassette recorder. Let me take it in this top secret base.
Yep. Not
it's
a radio.
Like today when they tell me, like at my job, if you find a USB in the parking lot, do not bring it in here. It's like, okay, that normally doesn't happen, but okay.
Yep.
All right. Well, that wraps up our Transformers question. Oh, one thing I wanted to bring up too, he's talking about Soundwave. I just thought of the original Soundwave came packed with Buzzsaw. Yeah. And it just seems like ever since Hasbro has a thing against Buzzsaw. We never get a Buzzsaw figure.
Well, not only that, but Buzzsaw gets no love in the fiction. It's like, so, and I think a cynical part of me thinks that they were really trying to push Laserbeak over Buzzsaw so that you had to buy the 2-pack with Laserbeak and Ravage, even though you already had Buzzsaw. But if Buzzsaw had a role in the cartoon, like think of this alternate reality where all the Laserbeak moments are Buzzsaw moments, you would feel no compulsion to want to buy.
I can only think I've ever seen Buzzsaw was in the Ultimate Doom.
Yeah, that may be the only appearance.
If you remember, his bio was awesome because he was sadistic. He enjoyed slicing bots and humans apart with his razor sharp beak. Why he was called Buzzsaw. So maybe that's why they didn't put him in the comics and the show. You got a friggin' Leatherface flying around.
Bob Budiansky was out of his mind, some of the stuff that he would come up with. I mean, we talked a lot about that on my show when we were talking about how violent the Marvel Comics was, and how Prowl's arm was all shredded and you see the cables and viscera and all that. It's just terrifying stuff.
Yep, and I loved every bit of it. All right, well, that wraps up the Transformers questions. Let's get on to you as a internet personality.
Sure.
So, first question with this is, what possessed you, a grown-ass man, to talk about Transformers on a podcast?
Well, it's interesting, and this actually dovetails with the origin story I was telling earlier in the show, in that it talking about Transformers specifically is something that came later. So what happened is I had this college radio show where I was a DJ playing Today's Rock, and it'd be like, oh, hey, coming up next, it's, Sleeping with Sirens. And then after that, here's a block of Motionless in White. You're listening to KGRG 89.9 FM, Today's Rock, that kind of stuff. But I started gradually putting more of my personality into it. And I did a show on my birthday where I played in its entirety the soundtrack for the Transformers, the movie 1986. And my show was on late at night. I was on from like 9 to midnight or something like that. So for like the last hour when like nobody is listening, I brought in my CD and I did like air breaks in between each song. I was like, well, this on the soundtrack, it's called Spectre General, but did you know that this band was originally called Kick-Axe, but Scotty Brothers Records couldn't have like a band called Kick-Axe on a soundtrack for a movie about transforming robots for children. Here's a song called Hunger. You're listening to KGRG FM on 89.9, Today's Rock. And so anyway, so that was kind of like one of my first little bits of Transformers. But in 2017, 2018, I think, I started getting involved with the larger fandom. I discovered other Transformers podcasts. Well, I discovered that there were Transformers podcasts. And then later I discovered there was like Transformers YouTube, Transformers fandom, all this stuff that because of the way I was in my 20s and 30s, I was very career focused and didn't really spend a whole lot of time on the internet. Like, I get some flack from my friends sometimes. It's like, well, I went through a lot of my life thinking I was the only person that liked Transformers the movie. And then when I started talking with folks, it's like, you ain't special. Everybody likes that movie. But no, it's like a couple things converged at the same time. One, I graduated from college, so it was kind of time to put the radio stuff aside. And I was still bit by the bug, though. I still wanted to keep broadcasting. So I was like, well, I have all the gear. I have all this set up. Why don't I just do my show as a podcast? So really what the early versions of Mike Seibert Radio was it was just kind of like a non-broadcast radio version of my radio show. I talked to local bands, a lot of musicians, authors, writers, basically anybody that would come on my show, and I would use it to kind of like spotlight local musicians. Like, I'm good friends with this cat named Kyle Stevens. He started this band called Kirby Crackle, which is basically like the pioneers of the nerd rock genre. So it's like it's exactly what it sounds like. It's nerdy songs about nerdy stuff. It's not Weezer, not that kind of nerdy, but like explicitly nerdy. And this guy was ahead of the curve before like nerd culture became pop culture, that kind of thing. So I was into that. He was into that. But then I through podcasting and organically being a citizen of the internet, I start interacting with other folks that like Transformers. And it's like, well, did you know there's Transformers podcasts? Did you know there's Transformers YouTube channels? Did you know there's Transformers conventions? I had never heard of TFCon. Like I remember reading like Wizard and Toy Fair magazine in like the mid 2000s and seeing something about like a BotCon or something like that. But it was always so far away from me that I was just like, well, I'd never go to a BotCon.
They were always in New York or LA.
Exactly. So yeah, it was just so far away, but really the focus of my podcast changed when my interests changed. So instead of being so focused on music and movies, it gradually shifted to Transformers. TFCon for life. I love it. TFCon is a great show. I really like what they do with it. It is such a great environment for fans. I have some
like last time we went, the first TFCon I went to all the panels and everything. But the second one, I just went to hang out. I didn't care about what I was buying. I didn't care about shows, or of course I wanted to meet Gary Chalk and I wanted to get Vince DiCola's autograph. But other than that, I just wanted to hang out with the people.
Exactly. Like one of the things that I bring with me to TFCon is I have a you remember the Fathom event screening of Transformers the movie a couple years ago?
Mm-hmm.
And they gave out as a souvenir a poster of the current Blu-ray DVD cover. And I took that poster and I've been having it autographed by folks specifically that were in the movie. So it's like, so there's a lot of voice actors that I've passed on and other personalities, but it's like, if they're in the movie,
Here's one for you.
Yeah, I terrific question from Chauncey here. Are there cons in Seattle? I have friends and clients in Seattle and it's driving distance. Seattle is a really great nerd community. There's all aside from cons and small cons, there's all kinds of like nerd adjacent stuff, like nerdy bars and pool halls and things. We've got like a thriving pinball scene here where there's like pinball bars and stuff. But specifically to the cons, there's a couple things I could speak to. Obviously, Seattle is the home of Emerald City Comic Con, which is, I don't know in terms of number of size, if it's not top 10, it's at least, it's probably, I said that backwards. I was going to say, if it's not top 5, it's probably top 10 for nerd pop culture events in terms of like attendance numbers. It's not quite San Diego Comic-Con, but actually now that the city of Seattle has spent $2 billion expanding the convention center to where it's now double the size, I'll be interested to see how Emerald City Comic-Con grows. But they it started as a comic show, a kind of back to basics comic con. And much like with a lot of these other shows, they grow, they get bigger, they get more notoriety, and eventually get gobbled up by a mega corporation. They're currently owned by Reed Pop. So it is just one of the, it's another jewel in Reed Pop's infinity gauntlet of mega conventions. But Emerald Con is a great show. Like, you know, they bring all kinds of celebrities. It's a great place to connect with fans and comic book creators. So I see in the chat too.
Yeah, I'm seeing that.
PAX West as well. In fact, PAX Prime. I mean, PAX starts here in Seattle. I mean, and a lot of folks kind of forget that as well. But like on the Transformers kick,
Orlando. I'm planning on Orlando.
Nice. I might be going to Orlando as well. I don't know yet. I might be going to LA as well. Maybe. I don't know yet. But for fans here in the Pacific Northwest, specifically the Seattle area and close to it, we do have a unofficial Transformers convention. It's called Seibfest Northwest, and it's happening this summer, July 8th. So shortly after Rise of the Beasts opens. And it's we're actually celebrating our 10th year. And the reason why I say we is because I'm part of the organizing team there. So this is kind of like organic plugging, actually. But no, Seibfestnw.com is the website. You can find out about us. It's basically it started as a dealer show, and that is the primary focus. We have vendors from all over the area come in. Lots of local homies, lots of great, cool stuff there. Even returning vendors surprise me with the amount of stuff that they find in their collections to sell year after year. It's like, I didn't know you had that. Oh no, I bought it to sell at Seibfest. But no, it's a terrific dealer show. But in the last few years, we've added panels and discussions. I've done some interviews with some artists that have worked for IDW that just happen to live in the Seattle area as well. And it's a really great time. It's a medium small show. So if like TFCon is a big small show or a small big show, Seibfest is medium small. It's like it's a big dealer room that's basically a community center, big Freudian slip there. It's a gym. Like you could see like the paint for like the basketball and all of that other stuff. It has a very local homey feel to it. So anyway, that's happening July 8th. At the Kent Commons Community Center here in the Seattle area. If you want more information about it, the website is seibfestnw.com, and that's spelled SYBFESTNW.com. But yeah, that's a great local convention, and there's gosh, I could probably take up the entire rest of the stream just naming off little shows, but there is a thriving micro convention of a scene for nerds here in the Seattle area in the Pacific Northwest. If you want to know more, hit me up on socials. I'm at Mike Seibert Radio. I can I'll DM you. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, wherever.
Send me real quick. Mike needs some subscribers on his YouTube channel.
Oh,
we'll put a link to the channel right now in the chat if you guys want to check him out. He does his podcast where he does like live shows. He did one with me. Then he'll edit it and actually put it on his podcast. So you can watch the podcast on his YouTube channel, and then he can link you to his different podcast sites. So what's that, on Apple?
It's pretty much everywhere you can find podcasts. It's on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify.
Wait. That's question 10.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
We'll get to that in a second.
I'll get a sec to say it again then. But yeah, just search for Mike Seibert Radio using the spelling that you see on your screen, and you'll find me. I'm the Transformers guy, not the Mars rover guy. So like the Twitter handle at Mike Seibert is the one of the guys that worked on the Mars rover. So I was like, you know what? He can have the handle. I'm fine with that.
All right, we're rolling on down again. There are thousands of toy reviewers on YouTube. Well, let's see. How can I reword this for you?
There are 2 million podcasts on Apple Podcasts as we speak.
Yeah, what differentiates you from the rest? What makes your podcast special? Now, I, for one, noticed you have voice actors on your show. You got random YouTubers on your show. Mm-hmm. It's just it's a wide variety. I liked, I think the one I watched or listened to was you had just a variety panel talking about Earthspark.
Yeah. Yeah. And you nailed it. It's what makes me stand out. One is there are tons of YouTubers, podcasters, internet personalities, but there is only one Mike Seibert Radio Podcast. And my name is Mike Seibert, and it's my podcast. So, really, it's the individuality. It is these different topics through my prism, my perspective, my kaleidoscope, my friends, folks I connect with. And that's what makes it unique, is that it's me. I'm the only me. You know, it's like you're the only you, you know, and not to be all, you know, holistic and kumbaya about it, but that's really what it is. It's like I'm the only person with my voice. And I learned very early that you know, and very counterintuitive. You even talked about this a lot with your channel. It's like, you know, find your niche, find your voice, find your gimmick, find your lane, and all of those. And because of that, you're a very successful YouTuber with a robust fan base and lots of subscribers. The flip side of my leaning into variety is that there is an inconsistency there. So it's like, if you're coming to my channel just for Transformers, you'll find stuff that's not Transformers that might not be to your taste. Like I took a train ride to Portland and watched a concert with The Offspring and did a review about it, just because I wanted to talk about the experience. Now, if you're a Transformers fan and you could care less about The Offspring, that episode isn't for you. But what I've discovered, and we talked about this a lot on my show, is that I've learned that my friends, my fans, come to my show for me. They want to hear me talk about something. So it's like, even like when I do movie reviews, it's like, well, you know, so many other folks have already reviewed this movie. I don't know. It just feels like it would just be, you know, entering into an already crowded space. And I have a number of folks that are really close with me that will DM me and say, well, don't be like that. We want to hear from you, even if it takes longer. I want to hear your take on this movie or TV show or action figure or concert or whatever. But that's what makes me stand out, is that it's the world through my perspective. And I like to create a platform to help independent arts. You know, like I interview a lot of folks that have Kickstarter projects. You know, it's like, so yeah, let me give you a platform. Let me give you something that you can share on your socials to learn more about the project, and hopefully, you know, maybe get some more eyes on something. And that goes all the way back to my college radio days, where we played a lot of independent musicians. So I think that's kind of where that got ingrained with me. Interviews as promotion. So it's like, even now with the stuff I do with Mike Seibert Radio, that's still kind of like tied together. So it's like, even when Patriot Prime is on my show, yes, I'm looking to interview him and get to know him and become fast friends. But I also want to let my audience know about another really cool channel that they might not have seen otherwise. Like, in fact,
that's not an Alex Jones robot.
Yeah, exactly. and I got some feedback from that, even as, you know, like today. It's like I had one of my longtime buddies, Anthony Brucali, TFU.info, hit me up. He's like, I'm really enjoying the Patriot Prime interview, and it's really cool to get a perspective from somebody in the fandom that I've had no interaction with. Because, you know, folks that have, you know, long-standing ties, you know, we tend to get a little cliquey sometimes. Yeah. So it's kind of cool to expand our circle. And even like the Venn diagram between like the folks that you hang out with and I hang out with, there's a little bit of overlap, but there isn't a whole lot of crossover, which is why I really dig this dynamic with us. This is really cool.
Well, that's part of the reason I started SITREP a long time ago, is I wanted to get to know other people, and I always reached out to smaller YouTubers. You know, I was fortunate enough that mine, you know, had a big growth spurt there all of a sudden. I mean, it's sputtering now. I think me and the algorithm are not liking each other. But I thought it was really cool to interview others to kind of see where they're coming from, give them pointers and, you know, all that cool stuff. And it just blossomed into what it is now.
Yeah, absolutely. Friendship, they say, is magic.
Exactly. And bonded by plastic.
I love it.
What's the one thing that you find hardest about being a podcaster?
Oh God. I mean, this is probably the easiest question that you'll ask me that isn't the Soundwave related one. Time management. Time management. Time is always the enemy. I spin a lot of plates, and it gets tricky. It's like, one, you have to be up on a schedule and find consistent time to do content. And I think that's why, honestly, my outlet hasn't gained the traction that maybe somebody that's been doing this as long as I have should have. Because I have like 69 subscribers on YouTube. I mean, I've been doing videos for maybe a year, maybe two. I don't think I put anything on YouTube before COVID. So it's still me very much trying to find my way and figure out how I want to do that. And even if you go to my channel, it's a weird variety. It's like, okay, he's doing a review here, he's doing a live stream
74 there. Now.
Hey, well, thank you to the Patriot Prime fan base. Welcome. Expect more of this. But no, it's time management has always been a challenge for me. I'm naturally kind of a knucklehead, and I mean, I'm really good about dealing with what's directly in front of me, not always what's on the horizon. I'm kind of the opposite of Luke Skywalker when he meets Yoda on Dagobah. He's like, it's like, oh, always to the future, always on the horizon, but never was he focused on where he was, what he was doing. So I'm the opposite of that. It's like, this is what's in front of me now, here today. I have no idea what I'm doing tomorrow. But yeah, time management and everything takes time, whether it's conducting interviews, editing, posting, social media. It all takes time. And so if I were to give any advice to folks, it'd be just like, manage your time and don't forget yourself also. It's like, it's one thing to like throw your body at a problem, but you really also got to be cognizant of like family life, family time, because that stuff is important. This stuff is important also, cultivating an audience. Obviously that's very important, but not at the risk of your family. So, perspective is always important.
I glazed over with you too on your show that I run into is the time management. When I got friends like Cato and Bert and Rodimus and Deluxe Baldwin, those guys are cranking out videos like that. Yeah. They also work at home. Mm-hmm. I got a full-time job, and I do, that old 8 to 5. And then I got the kid in basketball practice and the family, and I just can't crank out the reviews like them. And I'm like, man, and it used to bug me, but I'm like, you know what? I'll get them done when I get them done. I have stuff I have to do, and my viewers understand that. Of course, I had, who was it? This guy right here decided to do a whole tour of the United States when I ordered him from Amazon. This figure shipped January 16th from Pennsylvania to West Virginia. But instead of going that route, it went Pennsylvania to Arizona, from Arizona to Indiana to Illinois, just all over the place. He finally showed up yesterday. So.
That's so funny. I love that you showed that. I mean, the map that you put up on social media, it reminded me of like Indiana Jones. It's like da 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 da.
Here's another guy that has a good podcast, Lazy Jedi, the Mediocre Show.
I'll have to check it out.
Definitely, yeah, that will be fun. That'd be a unique group of individuals there.
That's awesome.
We've had a good time on his show before. We all were going to do one a few weeks ago, and it's just the one night we finally had planned out. Just all of a sudden, everybody had to do something else. Like you said, family life kicked in, and it's just hard to get everybody organized together.
Yeah, especially with a large crew. It's like that Earthspark show I did that you mentioned earlier. There was a half dozen of us. There was like 6 people on that show, and it took like an act of Congress and like all of the planets lining up and all of the stars aligning for us to all be available at the same time. But man,
that's why I do mine late at 10 o'clock. Pretty much everybody's home at 10 o'clock. Well, 7 on your end.
Yeah, even so. But yeah. I love the late night after hours streams like this. It's a fun vibe.
Mine gets weird sometimes. Like I told you, we ended up having a 4-hour one night. We ended up at 2 o'clock or something.
Whew.
All right, well, let's wrap up our final question. Then we'll get into audience interaction and Toyhax giveaways.
Hell
Last one, or it's not really it's a question. Do you have any channel goals, podcast goals for yourself, and where can my viewers find you? This is your time to plug yourself.
Oh, well, thank you so much for the
That's why
opportunity.
I stopped you earlier.
I greatly appreciate the opportunity. This has been a blast. And I really appreciate the opportunity to get me out in front of your audience and really cool folks that I'm definitely looking to connect with more. So I guess goals, my goals have shifted. Originally, if you'd asked me even a few years ago, it would have been like, to get more subscribers or to get more views or to connect with more folks. My goals now are a little less definable. It's like you can see the gray snow in my beard. I'm getting to a point in life where I'm just as content to do content, and the folks that like it, and the folks that like it, find it and share it and things like that. So really my goal is to continue to improve my presentation and to continue to do the best damn show that I can. So it's not necessarily, I can't measure it in subscribers or viewers or clicks or followers or whatever, but my goal is to put on the best damn show for the best damn audience on the internet. So those are my goals. And if you would like to join me on that adventure, my podcast is Mike Seibert Radio Podcast, and you can search it by just clicking the convenient link in the chat. If you go to my YouTube channel, that I believe has links for my social medias and podcasts. I do predominantly an audio podcast, but I am kind of messing around with putting stuff on YouTube. I do a lot of variety of live streams. I found that during COVID and beyond, when Zoom culture became normalized, suddenly folks that may have not been guests that were out of reach are suddenly very accessible. Like I've had some terrific interviews. I had a great interview with David Kay, voice of Beast Wars Megatron, as well as Vince DiCola and Stan Bush and Flint Dilley, and all kinds of other folks that I've been able to connect with on video in a way that I never would have dreamed of. I never thought that would have been possible. So a lot of that stuff lives on my YouTube channel. So yeah, you can find videos there. And I've also recently, I've connected with a headliner, like this headliner.com thing. You put in your podcast RSS feed and it transcribes or ports over the audio, converts it into a video. So it's one more place to find. So if you see videos that have no picture and it just has like a sound wave, it's ones that Headliner has converted into video, because YouTube is still a very powerful search engine. Like it's still like the number 1, number 2 place to find music. And I think that's still the same with like podcasts and as well as YouTube content. So trying to get out on YouTube a little bit and do a little bit more. But anyway, my podcast is Mike Seibert Radio. You can search it by just searching for my name with the spelling on the screen, Seibert. You can also interact with me on social media. I'm pretty active pretty much everywhere. I'm on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, And I think that's about it. But all those handles are at Mike Seibert Radio with that same spelling. If you just type in SEIBERT, you'll find me. And coming up next week, just to share a brand new tease with a brand new audience, next week I am launching a brand new podcast, a spinoff, a companion to Mike Seibert Radio called Two Mikes, Too Furious, where me and another guy named Mike.
I was going to say a cup.
Nope. We are we almost called it Two Mics, One Pod, but we thought that was a little too prurient for the audience. But no, me and a author named Michael Andrews, we are going to watch Transformers Animated because he is a super fan of TFA, whereas for whatever reason, it was a blind spot for me. I've never seen Transformers Animated in its entirety, and everybody that I've talked to, as I've gotten more into the Transformers fandom, it's like, oh, you're a G1er, you like Transformers the movie, and you haven't watched Transformers Animated yet? What's wrong with you? Go watch it. Everybody tells me to go watch TFA. So anyway, we're going to do it for a podcast.
Yeah, it's one of those shows that start off really, really kiddified because I didn't like it at first, but then the season 1 finale was awesome. It had some of the cool, I'm not going to spoil nothing for you.
Yeah, thanks.
There's some cool moments in that.
So that I was just gonna wrap that up. That's launching next week. Mike Seibert, Michael Andrews, Two Mikes, Too Furious, doing a recap discussion show of Transformers Animated, and you can find all that at my socials as well. So, again, thanks so much. This was an incredible blast, and I'm very grateful for the opportunity.
Excellent. I am so glad to have you on. Once again, like I said, we had a great time last week, and I figured let's just continue it on. And I really appreciate having you on the SITREP.
Absolutely.
Now, let's draw for some toy hacks. Everybody who's held on for that. And I
give away stuff because, I mean, Lazy Jedi took off, but like it looks like the we
got 26 people in the chat.
Yeah, folks chat is hopping.
I love it. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to give away the decal set. Now, stressing, this is just the decal set, not the toy, just the decal set. You can find her at Walmart right now. She's on the clearance rack for $25. So I saw a bunch of her at my Walmart today.
It is so funny. If I could interject for just a quick second. I have heard all of these tales of the Walmart clearance section. I gotta tell you, the collector population here in the Seattle area is so dense that stuff never goes on clearance. Like even like the shelf warmiest, the peg warmiest of stuff. Like you can't even get like
this ain't a Friday. This is a Friday or a Saturday, maybe.
Maybe next time. But yeah, no, it's so weird. It's like, so anytime I see folks posting about clearance stuff, and I'm like, I wish. But yeah, no, it all just get gobbles up at full retail. Plus our distribution kind of sucks, but really it's just that we have so many collectors in such a small area.
I don't need to stalk Override. I already got her. She just happened to be there when I went to Walmart today. All right. So to enter to win their Override decal sets, what should they type in, Mike? You're the guest. Give me something to type in for.
Oh my gosh. Oh geez.
Keep it simple.
Well, I'll go with a Soundwave Superior.
Soundwave Superior. So this is what we want. We'll type it in right now, and it has to be typed like this. Remember how to spell superior?
Yeah, right.
All right, Soundwave Superior. In honor of Mike being on the channel, this is what you have to type in. 2 capital S's, because the giveaway tool will pick that up. It has to have capital S for Soundwave, capital S for Superior. Get your entries in right now. Let's do it. Let's go. Now, last time I did this and I did the drawing, I won.
This is so cool.
Oh, just wait. There's a very interactive thing I do this with. Yeah, this is fun. I try to do this. I haven't got any doubles in a while, so I forgot I ordered these. They just came in today. What's cool about, well, I'll go into Skullgrin later. He's got extra little Easter eggs with his decal set. Slow DK, take that hashtag out. There's no hashtag in it, just Soundwave Superior. It won't pick you up. That's a no-go. A no-go. There you go. That's a yes go. That is a yes go. Let's see, we'll get another minute to get those entries in.
Sure.
And see, I just got these decals in yesterday. I haven't even had a chance to apply them yet.
It's a nice set. Oh, see, I love it. Lazy Jedi pieced out, but then has miraculously returned to participate in the giveaway.
I think he was piecing out because he's not a big Transformers animated fan.
Oh, gotcha.
I think that he was like, I'm out.
Yeah. It's going to be fun to talk about regardless. I mean, it's so we've recorded our first episode. And so, we watched the pilot, and it's interesting, but
if I remember, the pilot made me so mad because didn't the pilot show G1 animation at first?
Yeah.
And I remember watching that when it first came out, and then those characters showed up. I'm like, this art style sucks. I mean, I hate modern art.
Sure. The voice cast is terrific, though.
Oh, I love Corey Burton as Megatron.
So good. And David Kaye, still the only actor who has portrayed both Megatron and Optimus Prime. That's crazy that no one else has pulled that off yet.
All right. So let me get my share screen up. We'll get ready for the drawing. Let's see. Oh, they've changed it up a little bit. There we are.
Ah.
So, got you and me at the bottom. This is the giveaway tool.
Yeah.
You'll see the SITREP right there. I have Soundwave Superior typed in.
And you can run this through StreamYard?
Yeah, it's, as you see, it's a StreamYard giveaway tool.
Holy smokes.
So
see, I'm learning.
Yes. Yes, David Kaye. All right, so let's go ahead and do this. Let's collect the comments. Here we go. Soundwave Superior. There's 10 entries.
Cool.
10 entries for this. And I'm going to make this full screen now.
Yeah.
So let's draw in 3, 2, 1. Jonas 2022. Congratulations. You got the set. You got the decal set. You need to reach out to me either via my Facebook page, my Instagram, or my Twitter, and I'll get a hold of you. So thank you very much. I'm going to screenshot that so I can share it on my social media as well. Where's my screenshot button? There we go. So that is that. We'll draw again here. Whoops. Don't mean to do that.
Oh, man.
Doing that. I already got our winner. I didn't mean to do that. Oh, man. He would have been happy. But yeah, this is pretty cool. StreamYard giveaway tool. You can stream right here in the chat, and that way the winner is right there. And he can get slow DK. He's like, come on, man. He tries every time. Have you won any slow DK? I know you've tried to enter these a lot. Hey, but we still got one more to give away. We still got one more.
Yeah.
And I can't find the envelope. I'm hoping these are my extras. Give away the ones that I got. That's here somewhere. Oh, there it is. There it is.
It'll turn up.
All right. So let's see. The next decal set we're going to give away is the one for Skullgrin here. This figure really disappointed me because Skullgrin's one of my favorite pretenders, and I was just expecting more from this figure. I do like the robot mode. The tank mode's kind of but it's funny. The more I look at Tarn that's coming out,
yeah,
his tank mode looks like a companion tank to Tarn's. I can almost see like him being part of Tarn's. What was the Decepticon Justice Division or something like that?
Yeah. Yep.
But anyway, the Easter egg for this set is Toyhax based his decal set on Doom, the Cyber Demon.
Ah, very
so
cool.
Once you get these attached to him, you'll kind of see the look. So if you're a Doom fan and a Skullgrin fan, I think you're going to dig it. So in honor of that, for the Skullgrin giveaway, type in Doom with a capital D. DOOM. I'm the Doom guy in Fortnite.
Oh, cool.
My son got me playing Fortnite, and I actually enjoy it.
Mindwipe 87, still waiting on Submarauder from Hasbro. Yeah. Well, and it's so weird with the Pretenders too, because now we got them in like all these weird different size classes. Like, Skullgrin.
You are going to take over for a second, so I can go to the restroom.
Sure. Okay. Well, I'll just finish my thesis manifesto about Pretenders. I like that in Legacy and Legacy Evolution that they're now doing Pretenders and some of these other obscure characters, going beyond 84, 85, 86, getting some some of these 87, 88, 89 guys. But I don't know if I understand or particularly like that we've got them across different size classes. Like, why is Skullgrin a deluxe, but Iguanus is a core class? Is it possible that we're going to see an Iguanus as a deluxe later to where he matches with Skullgrin? Maybe. It kind of reminded me, I had mentioned earlier in the show that Studio Series 86 was really kind of the thing that roped me back into mainstream Hasbro. And that's a line that's really gotten kind of polluted and diluted of late. But one of the things that kind of set me off was they did like the core class Ratchet, which is a fine enough figure. But then they do Ironhide as a Voyager. There he is. But and even like the cynicism of the Hasbro folks on the live stream, I think it was Evan. He's like, well, they're going to get retooled as each other anyway. So it's like it kind of makes me not want either. Like that cynical part of me. It's like, why would I want to get a core class Ratchet when you're going to do a Voyager to match Ironhide later and vice versa? That's that to catch you up, Patriot Prime. That was kind of my extension of like why Iguanus is in core class to why Skullgrin is in deluxe, and just kind of doing this whole little clinic on size classing.
And if you watch my video, I like the core class Pretenders better than I did the deluxe. They just seem to pull it off so much better.
Iguanus is a fun figure. He's that little motorcycle mode. He's great, and I would submit that he's a funner figure than Skullgrin.
Mm-hmm.
But what's going to make Skullgrin a lot funner is getting all decoed out with that Doom themed Toyhax sticker set.
Exactly. I'm hoping to get him reviewed this weekend.
Yeah.
Or applied and reviewed. Toyhax videos take a while. You guys see 10 minutes of it where it takes me all day.
Yeah.
All right. So let's get ready to do this. Doom is the word. And we have 10 entries once again. All right, so let's blow this up full screen. And here we go, drawing for the Skullgrin Toyhax decal set in 3, 2, 1.
Oh, it's going so much slower this time. Oh.
Horndow. Who? Horndow. That's who? Oh, that's lame. That's a dad joke.
It's almost a hooah. Almost.
Hooah. Got that printed too, so we can share that. So congratulations, Horndow. The same rules apply. Get a hold of me via Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, and I will get these decals out to you ASAP.
Who?
And that's it. That we've had a great interview show. We've had a Toyhax decal giveaway. We've had some fun interaction with the members in the chat. Somebody stuffed $1 in my G-string. So yeah. Been a pretty good night. I can almost buy a drink now. What are they, like $1.75 now?
Wow. I got to move to West Virginia because Buck isn't going to get me very far here in Seattle, unfortunately.
I think our machine in my office is the cheapest you can get a 20-ounce pop right now. It's $1.50 for a 20-ounce pop.
Wow. Yeah, it's we're $1.99 here on the cheap end. Usually $2.50. In fact, I bet you if I go upstairs,
thanks, brother. I try.
Appreciate that. But yeah, no, I'm looking at like $2.50 for an average soda.
Wow.
Crazy.
All right. Well, that pretty much wraps everything up. Once again, I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to Mike for joining me tonight once again for another night of fun and festivities and talking about Transformers. We had almost an hour and a half here and 2 hours on his channel. So we had a lot of talk. We never got bored. We never overlapped. It was the same thing. So
yeah.
Make sure and check his channel out. Make sure and check his podcast out. He actually did a pretty good interview show with me, and we delved into some of the history of what I dealt with when I first started YouTube that a lot of you guys don't know about. Yeah. Some of you do, but I had some challenges when I first started. I really went into with this one. So, Mike, any final words?
No, other than to just again thank you and to thank the audience and yes, soda. It's like sorry,
soda pop.
Yeah. It's so funny. It's like, you know, we could do like a whole nother show about the geographical foodstuffs, and it's like
biscuits and gravy and soda pop.
Yeah, there it is. Perfect.
Sweet tea.
But yeah, but no, again, I mean, huge thank you to you and to your audience. This was an absolute blast. Again, you can find me at Mike Seibert Radio. The spelling on the name is SEIBERT. And if you find me on any of the social platforms, tell me that you found me from here so that I can go back to my dude Patriot Prime and say they're coming for me. So I'm grateful for new members of the audience, and I really hope you enjoy the stuff that you find out. And again, until next time, till all are one, make good choices.
Exactly. And because it didn't happen tonight, I have to let Mike see this. You know what's coming.
Oh, dear Jesus.
TFCon 2023. Hooah!